Hey guys, so before I go too far, I want to say thank you. Actually, first of all, I'll say, hopefully you can hear me, it's a little bit windy. That's okay, I'll talk to you about the wind later. I wanted to say thank you to all of the messages and connections that I got from not even just clients and people I know, but even people that I don't know and haven't connected with previously in relation to the self-identity video that I posted. And it's interesting because it was an overwhelming response, and for me it was probably my most awkward video that I've done thus far, because it's stepping into speaking about pieces that I haven't really spoken about on a public capacity. And while I like to be a really open, transparent person, there's still pieces of myself that I keep for myself, or I keep for those that are close to me, for obvious reasons, and I'm always going to be that way. But I also want to honor myself and everyone else in the fact that I do have stories personally that, help explain, number one, why I'm so passionate about what I do in a professional capacity, but also I think there's so much power when I look at the people that I've worked with and coached with and developed with. The stuff I've taken away is their life's experiences, the things that they've overcome, because it's not just book smarts or academics or intellect or qualifications. It's actual living life and coming out the other side of all of the shit that we can face. So thank you to everyone who reached out. Your comments are appreciated, and I'm glad that it hit the way it was supposed to. I had a lot of questions, obviously, about self-identity and feeling like you've lost yourself. I also had a lot of questions about domestic violence, also about anxiety and depression. And I want to honor all of those topics by not just quickly skimming over all of it. I want to do piece by piece, because there's lots of, not just stories, but lots of aspects that could potentially be helpful and aligned with other people's journeys. So today I actually wanted to touch just a little bit on domestic violence, and in particular not shying away from the opposite gender in your healing. So obviously I'm going to speak from a woman's space, but I've seen both in my personal world and with clients and other people that I've worked with, it's not just women that go through domestic violence, it's men as well. And I think we underestimate the psychological trauma that people face when they're being abused emotionally, verbally, when they're being manipulated, when they're being controlled, when they're so squashed in every way imaginable. And so perhaps maybe some women will take away what I'm going to share with you today in particular. Please don't shy away from the opposite gender. So for me, some of the most powerful people that helped me with my healing were men. My close male friends, and even male friends that I met since coming out the other side. And I think there can be a fear there, and understandably so, because there's lots of trust, there's lots of other elements that get involved when it comes to DV. And so, you know, I've seen people shy away from feeling like they can't trust. And I think that's a sad thing. And I get it. I still work on trust stuff within myself too, because guess what? I'm human. But for me, I found that those platonic, loving male relationships, those brothers from other mothers, they were so fucking pivotal for me. And even in just ways that were more supportive than you can from a female. Men have this beautiful, logical, magical way that they see the world, which is so intrinsically different to the way women do. And I think that's one of the many, many gifts that men and women give each other, is that we look at the world so differently, and it's so well-rounded. And I remember having conversations with one of my dear friends, and I was in an emotional state. I was crying. And for those of you that actually know me on a personal level, I can count on my hands how many people have ever seen me cry. Like, I am not a big blubbering mess. I'm not that sort of person. And I remember making the comment to him that he's seen me at my worst. And his reply was, "No, I've seen you at your most real." And I went, fuck. Okay, well that's true. Because we can shy away from being vulnerable because of a perception of being weak. We can shy away from all sorts of things. And I also remember other conversations with another one of my beautiful friends. I remember him sitting in my lounge and just saying to me, "Michelle, do you not realize you're a goddess?" And I remember that comment because I literally stopped in my tracks being like, what the heck is he talking about? He's like, no, you being you. You're the most magical human. When are you going to allow yourself to be that woman? And it stuck with me because I'd never seen myself in the ways that people that from the outside can view us, because we can look at ourselves as to all of the things that we need to do or we need to work on. Oh, horse problems, hold on. Okay, we're good. Now I'm not going to get trampled by ponies. Yeah, and then other comments, because it took me a long time to come back to myself and rediscover myself, which is another reason why I'm so passionate about what I do, because I know what it's like to lose that muchness and wonder. You see these ponies behind me? The world we live in. Okay, once again, stopping and starting today, but that's okay. It's part of life, right? Nothing is perfect, but it's perfectly imperfect. So another conversation I wanted to share was a friend of mine, because it took me a long time to come back to myself and really allow myself to be the full magnitude of who I am, because I was always, we'll save the shit for another day. But the comment that he made to me was, God help the man who tries to stand next to you that doesn't have a giant personality and a massive heart. Because me being me, that's a part of who I am. So I need someone that's going to be able to hold that space and capacity next to me. And so through so many beautiful conversations, holding space, support, and just having that male presence has actually been really therapeutic for me through my own personal journey. And I felt that that was actually important to share, because I know that women have shied away from allowing that closeness for fear of getting hurt again, even just in friendships. And then even men have shied away from allowing women back into their world because of trust. And there's a saying that my wonderful friend Christian says, that men protect their heart the way women protect their sex. And I think that's very true. So men have a tendency to hide their heart away because they don't want their trust and their heart broken again, because it's so hard for them to open up. It's not their natural vulnerable state of being through society programming and bullshit, as well as through generally, I mean, it's shifting a little now, I feel, but there's still that boys don't cry, harden the fuck up mentality, which I think is why men don't talk about domestic violence as much either. And yet I've noticed in my own world that men can struggle with being abused just as much as women. And here's the thing, men need women and women need men, and not just in a romantic capacity, but also in that platonic love that can help each other grow and evolve and heal. And so while there's so many different aspects we can talk about with domestic violence, and the loss of self-identity when going through situations that are less than ideal, I kind of just want to leave it at something that you can contemplate today with what you feel is maybe congruent for you. I've had to pause and stop and start this one a few times. Had a few girls that were writing that wanted to chat to me a couple of times, so sorry to stop and start, but I try to make these things very organic and real, so that's what's happening right now. Anyway, we can talk about these topics in so many different capacities, but today I just want you to maybe think about the ways that you've maybe feel disconnected from your own self-identity and looking at the journey to come back to yourself. I'll be holding an online workshop called Rediscover Your True Self, where I'm going to be diving into lots of components of not only how I've come back to myself over the past couple of years, but also how I've helped other clients navigate all sorts of things from domestic violence and divorce, PTSD, losing their job, all sorts of different worlds that we can all navigate, which mean we can lose a sense of self. So if you're interested in finding out more about that, or you'd like to chat about something that I've mentioned today, please just comment in or DM so we can get in touch. And have a great day. I'll talk to you again soon.